Welcome to the Business Babble. Today we have Cuddy Cudworth, the UK's leading mind management coach. And his strapline is, if it's in the mind, it can be managed. This is the man giggling. Guys, if you like this podcast, please like, share and subscribe.
There you are then. Good morning, pal.
Morning, how are you?
Not bad, better that you're here.
That's fair. I do bring an energy.
For sure.
That's something I've worked on for a hell of a long time, but there is how we can bring energy into everything that we do in life is an important part of emotional states for people, to be fair.
It's called, when you wake up in the morning, it's just having that ability to have the tits and teeth.
Well, I always talk about tits and teeth because I'm self-awareness is key, right? So I am fully aware when it comes to business and leadership and helping managers and clients. Self-awareness is one of the biggest things. We can understand that we're in a negative place, and that's okay. That's fine. It's right. How do I want to go from that negative place into the place that I know I can be in, which is more positive? And it's not always positive thinking. Positive thinking can be a little bit of a trigger word for certain people of, that's a bit bullshitty. Right. To be fair, positive thinking is not going to get you out of certain things. We need to help the whole body reset and help them through.
So explain that then. How do you reset your body for business, entrepreneurs, people that are managers?
Yeah.
All part of the business journey, life journey, because at the end of the day, if you're not the best version of yourself, then how are you going to perform? One, as a father, a mother, a brother, a sister, and somebody that's in a business. So how do you get on that journey? Where do you start?
It's about one of the most powerful things that I had to learn is ego. Ego comes from a place of fear. So if you're not in a place of being able to ask those questions to say, right, I'm struggling right now. What is it I need to do to move into that place where I want to go? Whether that's in business, whether that's in life, don't let ego mess you up. Ego is one of those biggest things that keeps us scared, fearful. It can help us embellish and really create those situations where I've created this kind of image and I'm scared to ask to get moving forward. And that's why mental health and emotional health plays such a big part, because we're scared to talk about things. The ego will stop you from asking questions to how can I improve? So if you work on that self-awareness and ego, it will genuinely have massive benefits. When my biggest nervous breakdown was through ego, not being scared to ask and go, look, I'm struggling right now. I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do? And then going to speak to somebody who probably knows a little bit more than me. Because I think for entrepreneurs, there's a big thing of, you hear it an awful lot in the personal development world is, don't listen to anyone else, do you, stay focused and keep moving forward. And that creates a system of blinkers on, and I'm not going to ask anybody else because I'm right and I'm always wrong. And being open and fallible to say, maybe I'm not right on this one, will help really put ego back in place and create that self-awareness. Go, maybe I don't know what I'm doing here. Maybe I would say this a lot to, and I know Vickers is not here, but I have a lot of clients who run businesses. And I'm like, I'm not a business coach. Makes you just, no, I don't. I've got a business coach. Perfect, not a problem. I'm struggling with this. I want to go to the next level in my business, or I want to be able to manage this a little bit more. Having uncomfortable conversations. Right. So that person said, right, I'm going to put ego to the side. I'm going to come and Cuddy's probably got the solution. I work on solutions and not problems. So that's what we do.
You said earlier on, you remove the trigger.
I had a really interesting conversation with somebody yesterday, and somebody said, Cuddy, what is it you actually do as a mind management coach? Because I like to make sure I put out into the world, I'm not a life coach. I think that's a little bit whimsical for me, but that's a belief system for me. I find life coaches a little bit whimsical and bullshitty. And I'm just right. I'll be fair. That's a little bit whimsical and bullshit for me, but that's a me problem, not a them problem. So somebody said, "Oh, did you help people with coping mechanisms?" And I was like, "No, I don't help people with coping mechanisms. I help remove the trigger." And the second he looked at me, he went, "Oh, that's really powerful." So we get triggered. If we've got a belief system in place, I know we talked about belief systems last time, but if we've got a belief of how we were made to feel something in the past, and then your nervous system holds on to that, just hugs onto that and goes, right, that's especially with the brain, please understanding the brain, how the brain is going to create concepts and of how we felt in that one moment, your brain is going to overgeneralize that, and your brain is going to go, oh, I felt that then, so that must be who I am now. So I felt weak when I was 7-year-old and I was pissed on. Remember the story about I got peed on as a child?
Oh, yeah.
So I felt, so I got peed on by another kid. They were the top of the tree and I was the bottom of the tree. And I made a generalization, I mustn't be liked because my friends want to pee on me, right? So that's a concept. I create a belief system there. So then my brain goes, remember that, because that's going to be the rest of your life. So every time I maybe make a new friend, are they going to piss on me? Metaphorically.
But I totally understand that. And I think when you go to see someone, to talk to someone, I've done it years ago when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
It's blatantly obvious they be able to articulate it to you, and they give you the story based on it, and you go, I completely understand what you're talking about. Yeah. And it is incredible. So you're obviously going around people, you're going around businesses, we talk about the business journeys just now and having managers, having entrepreneurs, leaders, strong leadership. But I think the demise in a lot of people not retaining their staff just now.
It's bad.
It's
high.
Yeah, and when you look at the business world and the financial world, which is all one, we need to retain people. We need to retain.
It's cheaper to retain than it is to re-employ.
Yeah.
The cost. So when I'm talking to businesses and I'm like, well, look, just last year, how many managers did you lose? Lost 6 managers, right? So the cost to your business when you lose 6 managers, I've only got 10 within the business. I've lost 6. So that's 60%. You now have lost time doing a complete recruitment. Took 3 months to recruit 6 new people. That's 3 months where you've had an extra stress on the 4 managers that you had left. For that 4 months, their stress levels are going to go up because the work doesn't change. You just have to do more. Then you've got to train the new people to do it. So that's another 2 months. So you've got a 5-month process where the 4 that you had left, using that as an average, had to work harder, didn't probably get compensated anymore, was thanked, maybe given a pizza party, right? It's like they're eating the pizza going, are you shitting me? I've just worked my arse off because, I quite enjoy working here. Now I'm having to train the new people. They've got their own views and things, and I'm training the new people. So my stress levels are going to keep going up. Now, if, moving back to the beginning part, we had that conversation with the managers, because it's genuinely middle management struggling. Middle management's definitely struggling because they don't know the basics of, you don't want to employ managers, you want to employ coaches. So you want to be looking for, when you're employing, are they going to be able to coach their staff and employ? Managers manage, coach, create performance. And that's something that's really powerful within the business structure. And there's such a simple concept that you can use, you can take away from this podcast of if you give them the understanding of how to listen and how to ask questions that gets your team and your manager, your team and your staff thinking for themselves, you will create exponential benefit within your business. So, most managers think I have to solve their problems. Because when you were staff, you went to managers to solve your problems. So you've got this reoccurring pattern of the manager's there to solve my problems. So I know HR managers are stressed. I know businesses are stressed. And I know that managers are absolutely doing the nutting because they don't have the tools to be able to simply break down the quantum linguistics. That's a big word, isn't it?
For this time in the morning, it is.
For this time in the morning, the quantum linguistics that you can break down by listening to 4 parts of the language. So actually what I train managers to do is shut up, listen, and ask a question at the right time. And it will save the manager's time, because most managers, I don't have time for this. I don't have enough time for my work because I'm doing their work.
Yep, that's
boom. One of the biggest problems businesses have. I don't have enough time to do my work because I'm doing their work. Let me tell you the problem. For any manager that's listening to this, any business that's listening to this, the problem's not the staff. The problem is the managers don't know how to coach. Coaching is one of the most effective things you can do for performance because it helps create thinkers working there. So your staff will be so much more enabled grateful that they've solved their own problems and they've not had to keep repeating that pattern. I don't know what I'm doing. I've got to ask my manager. And it'll be the ego of the managers wanting to keep their job, and they're scared that if my employees get better than me, they're going to take my job. So you've got ego that places there. The next question is, how is it you know that, Cuddy? Because I did 13 years at Royal Caribbean, and I was an egotistical, scared, insecure manager for about 2 years of it. I was drinking, couldn't cope with it, didn't know the basics of how to get the staff so that they basically... The true indication of a good manager is your staff never come to you because they don't need to, because they have the tools to go, oh, now I know how to solve this. Oh, now I know how to oh, no, I went through this last time. And then you've gotten that pattern of creating thinkers and powerful people that technically can do your job, but they don't want it because, like, no, I'm really happy here. And that's the power of self-awareness.
That's you're creating your own mindset as well on that.
If you've got coaches to create that, you're absolutely right.
But it'll work the opposite way. If they're having to come to you every single time, that's their mindset is, I need to go and ask, need to go and ask, need to go and ask. And then you're not getting, nobody's getting in the right direction there.
And most managers will do it because they're scared that if they're better than me, they're going to take my job. Yeah. So I'm better off creating a system of I'm needed, which is ego, because without my validation from other people, what am I doing here? Now, true leadership, true managing, being a fantastic manager is they don't need me. I'm not having to do much, but guess what? I get to do my work because you're not doing theirs. Help creating a system, an ecosystem where they're thinking for themselves, that they're like, oh, I'm going to go and speak to Mike. Oh, no, I don't need to speak to Mike because if I answer this, then I've got that answer there. And that's where we use S.L.A.P training to help. I love the word S.L.A.P.
I was going to say, you've got to be S.L.A.P people.
So if you want, and I asked you this last time, if you could S.L.A.P your staff for positive mental health, would you do it?
Yeah.
Absolutely you would, because you learn what the story, the language, the awareness, and the physicality is. So your managers can spot it, and you give the empowerment to the staff, to the team, for them to start changing their stories, changing their language. I can tell you now that language plays one of the biggest parts in people's mindset.
Yep.
And all people have to do is listen to their own and listen to other people's. What we get into a system and a place where most managers are not there listening, they're trying to solve. And the reason they're trying to solve is because I'm sat there going, if I can solve their problem, I can get back to the work. I can solve their problem, especially for men. Men are solvers.
Yeah, we talked about this last week.
Yeah. Men don't listen to their wives because they think, if I can solve their problem, if I can fix the engine of the car, my car's going to drive better. And that's the difference. For ladies want to be listened to so that they can be heard, so they can solve their own problems. So if you're, again, in managers or in relationships, if a lady comes to you, let's say Carol, for instance, I've now had to get myself into that space of, she doesn't want me to solve her problems. She wants me to listen. She wants to feel heard. Your staff want to feel heard. And there's a simple thing that you can do to help your staff feel heard. You can take away from this podcast, super powerful, is echo back the emotion that they're talking in. So you can absolutely go, because you'll listen to it, you hear it, and they say, oh, it kind of sounds like you're really frustrated. Yes, Mike, thanks so much for listening to me. I am frustrated, and this is why I'm frustrated. Wow. Simple question. What would you do if you could get rid of that frustration? Well, I'd do this. Go and do that. Thank you so much, Mike. Boom, your staff left. They've left. It's called clean language. It's super powerful, and it's one of the quickest ways that you can help your teams to generally fly. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs, when they're going through the business, they're going to want to do everything themselves, and they don't want to put the team out there. If you've got a team, 5, 10 people, you do not. Remember, we use the analogy of an entrepreneur or the owner of the business needs to be up in the crow's nest.
Yeah.
You're up looking at the direction you're going. Your staff are waiting for your orders. Which way am I rowing? Because then I got the validation. I've rowed in the exact right way that Johnny needed me to row in. Boom, I get compensated for that.
But there's also another part of that. There's thinkers and doers as well.
Yes.
There's a whole plethora.
So that's personality types.
All right, so there's a whole plethora of that. And I suppose with personality types, this is coming down to hiring well and maybe against what we're talking about, firing really well. And it's about we talked about in previous episodes as well about the ABC, the attitude, behaviour, capability. There's things that you can improve, but you can only improve on people with a potential of a good attitude and a good behaviour.
Attitude will work massive beneficial, yeah.
And I think this is where lots of conversations need to be had around this. If you are looking to be in a business or looking to scale up in a business, become a manager, it all comes from that attitude and behaviour. Showing up on time, which is, I'll whistle that one again. Show up on time and see. I noticed you noticed that. Showing up on time, which is early, putting in that extra bit of effort, and really being that drive, that energy, as I say. It's amazing when you're around people that have just got a really good aura about them, a good energy. You gravitate towards them.
That's consciousness.
And there's another deep dive.
Let's deep dive consciousness. So when you are a high energy person, I'm a high energy person. I know when I'm not in high energy because my internal language tells me. So for anyone listening to this, your internal language will tell you your emotional state. Your internal language, if it's quite judgmental, if it's blaming other people, if it's going, this person's an arsehole, this person's an arsehole, we are in a low vibrational state. We are stuck in ego. We're stuck in fear. It's a fear-based state. It's a lower vibrational state that we get into, that's a lower state of consciousness. So we become the blamers. So we've got the thinkers, we've got the doers, but you've also got the blamers. The blamers are low vibrational. We've talked about it at many networking events. There's some people I cannot stand to be around. Mm-hmm. I just can't. I'm like, I need to be away from. That's toxic. And that's the blamers. You can spot the blamers in the first 15 minutes of meeting someone because they will tell you a story. Everybody speaks emotionally. So if you're hiring or firing people, people will tell you a story. Oh, why didn't it go well at your last? Why did it not go well at Moo Lettings? Oh, to be honest with you, Johnny, I kind of thought Mike was a bit of an arsehole. He was forever doing this.
All the time.
Right?
God, how do you know him so well?
See, I'm a mind management coach, not a mind reader. No. So you've got how we were made to feel, and we've also got perspective, and you've got the blamers. People like to blame. Now, if you have somebody say, why did it not go well at Moo Lettings? Then you'll be like, to be fair, me and Mike didn't really get on, and I kind of messed up because, to be fair, we didn't vibe. There's accountability.
Yep.
So that person's not blamed Mike for why it's not worked out. He said, or they've said, it was on me. I didn't resonate. I didn't like Mike's certain things, and it's my. So now you've got accountability.
Yeah. You've
now got a social awareness of or awareness that somebody's saying it just wasn't for me. You're not sat there blaming your previous employer, your previous coach, your previous counselor, your previous therapist, your previous HR manager, whatever spectrum you're working on. You've now got somebody that wasn't for me. So I left Royal Caribbean. I started falling out with the idea of the leadership that I was following. COVID happened, and I didn't really want to go back to it because I was getting quite sick with traveling. We've talked about it before I started the podcast. I was lucky to travel all the world, but I was getting fed up with the traveling part. I was never settled. The only time I genuinely felt happy was when I was coming back over the Forth Road bridges after my contract of working all over the world. And I was like, oh, this just feels like home. This just feels right. So we had a year and a half at home for COVID. And we got the email, we were going back to ships. I've never really had anxiety or I've had certain other things going in my life, depression and things like that. But I actually had a fear and a panic. Oh my God, I'm going back to ships. I'm going to have to go and start traveling again. I'm going to have to go and start managing people. I was managing massive teams. As a cruise director, I had 9 senior managers because everyone's like, Cuddy, how can you do leadership but yet coach teenagers on their emotions? Because of the experience that I've had in work. So I was a cruise director. I only reported to the captain and the hotel director. And I've had some fantastic leadership with world-class leaders. The most powerful thing about Royal Caribbean is the systems they put in place to make sure you've got every skill to succeed in life. So when you leave Royal Caribbean, we've got like this I think, was it at Harvard? I think it was a Harvard coaching degree in coaching.
Wow.
That they paid for. Royal Caribbean, because it was a mindset thing from Richard Branson. Mm-hmm. Richard Branson has always said, train them good enough to leave, but train them good enough that they want to stay. So give them give them every part of, we're going to give you the best training in the world and you can work anywhere in the world but you're going to want to stay with us.
That's very good. I love that.
No ego. There's no fear. We're going to give you the training that you can work for Virgin Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, P&O. You're going to get the best hospitality training in the world, but you don't want to leave Royal Caribbean.
It's good. And that's how business should be.
No ego, no scarcity, total mindset. We're going to give you the best training in the world. So I walked away from Royal Caribbean because it was not on my terms, and I'm happy. Total accountability, no resentment. I've got some amazing contacts at Royal Caribbean that are always like, do I come back? I'm like, no, I genuinely don't miss it. There's not a day go by that I don't miss it. I'm like, no, it was the right time for me to leave. I've got great fond memories of it, made some amazing contacts with the world. Seriously, uber amazing leaders in the world, which is why there's sometimes when I see leadership in certain places and I'm like, I don't know where you got your leadership training for, because that's not leadership.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people in business have never had the training before.
No.
An entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur born, or is it taught over a period of time? So we talk about things like that. But 9 times out of 10, you're flying by the seat of your pants, learning, getting golden nuggets along the way. And then again, when we talk about the average of the 5 people you hang about with, you then go into that realm. Then you go into the realms of how many times you've actually failed and what you've learned from it. Good entrepreneurs learn from them very quickly. And it's just getting you better and better and better. And then I think in my head, when you get to that stage, you're all seeing and all wise, whatever it may be, you then start gifting that information back, because you've got to a place of more contentment in your life because you've failed fucking so many times. You've realised that you're not frightened of it. You've still got things to learn,
of course,
but there's just so many nice things that it's nice to give back. But when you do not attach a story to it, people just think it's a flippant word or a flippant sentence.
So you've the 2 parts there: attachment and story. That's people. That's S.L.A.P. Everyone's got a story. If you've attached, there will be an emotion attached to that story, and you can decipher that by listening, so that you will know if you want that person working for you. So the S.L.A.P training that I have, whether I'm working with businesses in a group setting or I'm working with leaders on a one-on-one basis, is don't talk, just listen and ask the appropriate question that gets them. It technically clicks their brain from the left side to the right side, which is from the fear side to the creative side, or the sage mind. And then they start moving away from fear. So one of the brain's purposes is they've got to remember fear. I don't know if I mentioned this last time. I know it's something I talk about a lot. Your brain has to remember every negative situation. It's got a negative bias. So that negative bias, because your brain's sole purpose is to keep... Are you still awake, Mike? You still awake?
Yeah. Listen.
It just looks...
I've realised how much to talk about. When I get the opportunities to talk about, look, you can walk away from this podcast, you can walk away with how you can technically sort your life out, whether it's in entrepreneur, whether it's in life. You can use these 4 things. You change any one of them and you will have a positive mental health. 'Cause technically, I don't really work with mental health. I think it's an overused word now, and it's over prescribed. I work with belief systems that creates emotions. So I work with people's emotions. Maybe it's from trauma, maybe it's from past belief systems that have been created and things like that. But when you are listening to people's story, that will tell you everything you need to know about them. And as a mind management coach, they have an option to change that story. They will get a different outcome. So how attached are you to your woe is me story? Or my dad did this to me when I was 6 years old, or my dad left the house. There's always a fascinating story about 2 twins. And one of them's an alcoholic and one of them's not an alcoholic. I don't know if you've ever heard that story. It's a great story to use, because that is mindset. That's 100% mindset. Is you've got the child who says, I'm an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic. And then you've got the other child, same age, says, I'm not an alcoholic because my dad was an alcoholic. So you've got choice. So we've always got choice. We can't see the choice because we can't see the perspective sometimes that gives us that option of choice. So when you work with a mind management coach, I'm going to give you the option of choice. We're going to look at your story, we're going to look at your language, and we're going to look at your awareness. Now, there's an awareness of, am I talking in the past or am I talking in the future? All right. And people's linguistics will tell you, and that creates a meaning. All right. The meaning that we have, if you master the meaning on a daily basis, if you master the meaning, you become a super, super powerful person. Whether it's in business, whether it's in life, meaning. Master the meaning of everything. We are meaning creating machines. Everything that we're doing and talking about, or everything that's happening to us, we're creating a meaning of how we felt, how we were made to feel in that moment. And that creates a concept, that concept of self of I fell off my bike. I fell off my bike. I'm not good at riding bikes. Brain overgeneralizes, don't get on a bike. Right?
Because it's always attacking the feet. It's always trying to make you safe.
It has to remember. It's always got to keep you safe. Your subconscious mind is there to protect you. So it's got to go, remember last time you fell off your bike? You hurt yourself. Don't get on a bike. You're going to hurt yourself. Didn't like it. Pain doesn't like pain. Doesn't remember. Your brain does not remember any time you've had ice cream and enjoyed the taste of something. It's not a pleasure remembering machine. It's a pain remembering machine so that you are to keep safe. Your brain's sole purpose is to keep you alive. Keep you alive.
I think it's okay. I'm laughing here because I remember talking about it last time, and it was about the sea. Because most people don't. The reason I don't like the sea is,
I'm 47, Johnny. Every time I get in the water, I still have. I know that's a memory from Jaws. You're 100% right. I have that same fear. I have got the biggest respect of getting in cold water. I will get in when it's stormy, as long as I know there's no pull or a feel or injury. I talk about so many subjects; it's unbelievable.
It's very
you literally can send me down any. So that's where sometimes people have. Cuddy, you never shut up. And how is it you know about so much stuff? Because I've had to learn. Because I've made that many mistakes. I've made that many constant. Done it again. Because you're a whatever meaning. Right? I've done it again because I'm fallible, I'm human, I'm allowed to make mistakes. Move on. Perfect. That's the meaning that I create to most things. It's extremely frustrating, hella problematic on a daily basis. The beauty of failing is fail as many times as you want, you just never quit. That's the measure of a successful person. Fail as many times as you want, it's not an issue, we don't quit. That's the measure of most successful people. We just didn't quit.
How did... Sorry, I'm not even coughing here. How did you get to where you're at, Mike? Because I'm just going to explain this for you, Cuddy.
Yeah.
You know Mike a little bit. You've met him a few times, but Mike and let's go deep diving into Mike. Yeah, let's
deep dive Mike.
Because he's obviously busy doing the computer
I noticed
stuff.
I know that, so yeah.
So Mike, from my opinion, is placid. He's laid back, but there's also another element to he could destroy someone very quickly in a nice way if he ever had to, because he's got that ability.
Yes.
So that's came from maybe growing up the way he's grown up. Survival. But why is he so calm and collective?
That's not a question you would ask. Ask me. He's making a choice of how he wants to have his emotions. He's making a choice of reaction over. You've got a choice of reaction or contemplation. So
I'll give an example. Sorry, Mike, I'm just picking on you. So there was a time where he's got a job on and it got broken into, this big job, and there was thousands of pounds worth of tools that all got stolen. Yeah. Quite a stressful point because you could feel him worrying about his apprentices and his guys and trying to get this money and making sure the insurance is covered. He never said one word to me that day when we were doing a podcast, because normally I knew I would be letting him know this. It's not that he's keeping away from me, but I never knew because his demeanour was still, I'm still calm.
Yeah.
I'm still chilled. But obviously he's paddling underneath that whole floating swan analogy.
That's the duck and the swan analogy, isn't it?
Aye.
I think most people create the vision of swan, but every one of us, myself included, under the water. Absolutely.
So where did that come from, Mike? How did you learn to do that?
I don't know. As a learning, for sure, because it wasn't always like that. But in that situation, say there's nothing. I'm sitting in here with a podcast. There's absolutely nothing I can do about everything else that's going on. So it really is about just being in the moment. Yes. I know that that's got to get dealt with, but like right now, this is what we're doing. So this is where I am. And then once I come out of that, then I'll go and deal with that.
Emotional mastery.
But how did you get to that point? I mean, the meaning.
I think you just go through. I don't know. There's a bit of I've been on courses and stuff where. Like there's the 3 principles, I don't know if you've ever heard of that. There was a thing I went to and there was a whole group of people there that were trying to get to a place where I felt I was already there naturally. So how I got to there, I'm not 100% sure, but if somebody pulls out on you in the car, you can either go absolutely mental at them and your whole day's fucking ruined because you're angry and somebody's pulled, or you can go, fuck it, on you go, pal. And then your day's completely different. Right. And it's just because your mind, your thoughts are creating the emotions. So just you choose what way you want to go with that. And if you can just take a minute to step back and not react to it, that little split second of, actually, I can go this way with it. So
what we have there is a prime example of choice. Understanding emotion and let's give a concept to everyone at the Business Babble right now. Is that a me problem or is that a you problem? Mm-hmm. All right? Driving along, somebody cuts you up, they're raging, you're not. In that moment, is that a me problem or a you problem that someone's cut me up? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've cut somebody up at least once or twice in your lifetime without even realizing it and carried on your merry way. And that's what you've always got to think. That person who's cut you up doesn't know they've done it and they've just gone on their merry way. What we do as the person who's frustrated is we hold on and we anchor to that negative emotion. This person's an arsehole. So I used to call it, who stole my sausage? All right? There's a lot of times people will come to you and say, do you know what? Something happened this morning and I was at the breakfast buffet. I used to use an analogy on cruise ships. Who stole my sausage? I'm on the cruise ship and I'm at the buffet and I'm like, I want a sausage from my buffet. Now I can see the sausages sizzling away. There's seven sausages there. I'm sixth in line. I'm gonna make a choice. I want a sausage for my breakfast. So I'm standing there, I'm waiting for my sausage. I'm counting the sausages down as I'm getting there. 3 people gone. 4 sausages left. I'm 4th in line. This is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to get a sausage. Today's a good day. I'm creating a meaning. If I get that sausage, I'm going to have a great day. Perfect. So the outcome of my day and my emotional state goes on. I've attached. I want that sausage. Not a problem. 2 people go. 2 people in line. There's 2 sausages left. And I'm like, this is a good day because I'm going to get a sausage. That last person takes both sausages and go. I'm getting there. I'm right at the front of the line. There's no sausages for me. This is what you can do. You're going to have some people that will go around and tell everybody for the rest of the day, somebody stole my sausage this morning. What an arsehole. I cannot believe that they had the nerve to steal my sausage. That was my sausage. And they'll tell the first person. 2 hours later, go and speak to someone else, say, can I have a chat with you? Yeah, no problem. Someone stole my sausage this morning. They're recreating that story and they'll create a story of why that person personally stole my sausage. So we've embellished because the emotion embellishes. So the language and the story comes from that emotional place because I attached my happiness of me getting a sausage. All right. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're attaching your happiness, Johnny's going to be happy when he gets the next 2 townhouses, 400 grand in the bank. All right. So if you don't get the next townhouse with 400 grand, how's your emotional state?
Right.
It's going to be shy because I've attached my happiness to an outcome. Now, if you attach your happiness to the journey, especially for businesses, well, do you know what? I'm happy that I left Royal Caribbean. I went from really high pay to not really that higher pay, but I'm happy that I had the choice to leave. That's a me problem, not a them problem. Mm-hmm. I've started creating accountability. Going back to the sausage story, 6 hours later, I meet that same person. Hey, how you getting on? Do you know what, Cuddy? They stole my sausage. Can you believe it? 6 hours later, they're still talking. You'll have met that person. You will have met that person. I know one person that will that we both know that will tell that story. Anyway, I see that same person 6 months down the line. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Do you know what, Cuddy? They stole my fucking sausage. And honestly, 6 months. They're still talking about the time someone stole my sausage because they don't have the ability to have self-awareness, to understand the power of the attachment of the story and how to, as Frozen once said, let it go. Let it
go. You're right. I heard the analogy with that guy. It was on YouTube, the glass of water.
Oh, the glass of the water? It's not that heavy, but 4 hours later you can't grip it.
Still the same weight, but it's mentally. It's just put it down. just put it down and just leave it. You can go back to it and visit if you really must. It's amazing how people walk through their life holding on to that pain and just that sorrow and upset and frustration. I mean, they're all emotions, but wouldn't it be better to change them with something more positive, something more meaningful, something that can get you lighter on your feet, something that can lift your shoulders, create an honest, authentic smile. You can see it in your eyes. You breathe better, you walk better, you taste better. It's all these things.
Do you want me to say why?
Why?
Because we become the story becomes our identity, which is why people are walking around with extremely bad mental health. Extremely bad mental health. We become the story of I got pissed on when I was 8 years old. Oh, my dad didn't love me. That's not a me story, by the way. My dad's great, but whatever story we have. We hold on to that story. That story becomes who we are. So one of the most powerful questions I ask a lot of my clients is, who are you without that story?
Right, okay.
That fracture of identity, if you repeat that pattern of a story for 10 years, that's who you are. You are that story. So S.L.A.P, change your story, change your life.
Yeah. Right,
change your language, change your life. Internal, external. Change your awareness. Are we talking in the past? Are we talking in the future? There'll be a language structure to it. It's like, oh, this always happens to me. Meaning, story, right? You've now got a concept. It's identity. One of the biggest driving forces that people have is, who are you without your story? That can be quite fracturing for people. It's one of those most powerful questions that you have to kind of lead up to, because our identity, who we are and what's happened to us in the past, will make or break who we are going to be moving forward. And
I see that. Like, that's one of the things, because everybody's got their story. Everybody, you know.
Absolutely.
But where I see the difference is exactly that. Whereas all the stuff that happened to me when I was young, I've not held on to that in any way. They're memories, but they're not. That's not who's defined me, and I don't hold on to that stuff. I know people that absolutely do, from childbirth. Lots of sessions. You know, there's a whole issue behind the things that happened way back in the day. And it has defined them, and that's who they are, and they can't let go of it.
No, because it's who they are, it's identity. Remember, in one of the networking meetings, I said, look, does anybody know a moaner or a blamer? 95% of people put their hand up. They know that that moaner and a blamer. That's a consciousness state. When you start taking awareness of that consciousness, you elevate and you start becoming, if you're the kind of person that's going to, there's something that I know you guys talk about a lot, and I don't. I always got told, again, a belief system. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about money. Because they're quite three triggering conversations to have. So I genuinely don't like. But if you've got somebody who sat there going, I can't succeed in life because of, who's in? Keir Starmer. I don't even know who's in the box, so I apologise. I can't do anything because, so we're blaming Keir Starmer for us not being able to be successful. There'll always be something, and I by the way, I still get into that blaming mode, but that's when I start going, there's the awareness, I'm blaming again. If I'm blaming, I'm not taking accountability. When I take accountability and go, actually, it's not Keir Starmer, it's a me thing. What do I need to work on? Then I can move into that next level. Being aware of your consciousness states, the more you move up, so high vibrational person, and this is like the states of consciousness that we have, our emotional states vibrate. Life is vibrancy. It's how we vibrate. There is some days I will walk into a room and I am an absolute waterfall and a fountain. When I walk into that room and I know I'm a waterfall or a fountain, just because I'm in that place, I will trigger the drains, the blamers. They'll start, oh, Cuddy's a wanker, Cuddy's this, Cuddy's that. We become drains. So stay away from the drains, head towards the showers and the fountains. The fountains light up the world, the drains suck it out. There is emotional vampires that you will know that will suck out the energy of every room. Their internal language, people speak emotionally. So if you are hiring or firing people, you listen to the stories. They will tell you the emotion. If they're blamers, don't hire them.
You're on a point, Johnny. We're going to.
Aye, I was, because that's absolutely fantastic. So my question is for both of you. So the second person will have a chance to think about this. Cuddy, who are you?
Who am I? Oh, I'm extremely dedicated to life on a daily basis.
You've thought about that, eh?
I know. Well, I create the identity of who I am. So verbs, I was going to do a training on BNI. What verb are you? I'm dedicated to me. I'm dedicated to my wife. I'm dedicated to family. I'm dedicated to the BNI. I'm dedicated to business. I'm dedicated to growth.
You're dedicated to life and
Verbs.
grow.
What verb? So let me ask you the question. What verb are you?
Based on what you've just said there, because it's trying to articulate it sometimes is a wee bit more difficult. I'm just wanting to be that good guy. I am a good guy. And the right people will see the good guy in me. I just want to be a good guy.
So,
That's all I am.
Let me ask you a question. This is purely coaching. What makes you think you're not a good guy that you have to say I'm a good guy?
No, I am a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just a good guy. What I'm meaning by that, I'm not too fixated. You still concern yourself with what people think. And I think people that say they don't care, I think there's a very, very small minority.
Narcissists say they don't care.
Aye, but everybody does. You'll meet me and you'll either like me or you'll not. And that's fine. And I'm okay with that. But I know who I am. I generally know who I am.
Who are you?
I'm Johnny and I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
But what does good guy mean?
Kind, caring, empathetic, driven. Yeah.
4 really powerful values. That's identity. Right. So when somebody comes along and says, you don't care about people, Johnny. How's that make you feel?
I'm sorry, you find that way. Is there anything I could do to help?
Good. So now you've got validation. So now we're taking away validation from the rest of the world to Johnny. That starts making us extremely powerful. I had a conversation with someone. I did a one-on-one with somebody, and when somebody said, do you know about this person? I went, I don't think that person's a Cuddy person. And they were like, they started laughing. They went, that's very astute of you. I went, look, I'm not liked by everyone. As long as I'm liked by my wife and me, when I look at myself and sometimes I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, I'm not liking Cuddy today. That's an emotional state that I'm in, right? What do I need to do to actually fall back in love with Cuddy? You know, we talked about it before the podcast. I think authenticity is, I've got an absolute bastard of a side to me. I think it comes from my mother, but I have an absolute dark side to me. And I went to a spiritualist person and they went, that's quite a natural thing, is we've all got the light and we've all got the dark. So it's called shadow work. Shadow work is dealing with the shadow, dealing with the dark side, so we know that it's not a problem that's going to drag us down to the side. So I deal a lot with the shadow, which is the dark side. And a lot of people cannot answer that question of who is you. Or if you ask that, I swear to God, genuinely, the fracture of identity is people become their stories. Mm-hmm. And when they come to me, we look at that story and we change that story if you want to. And it's by looking at the story you've created from a different perspective. And that's what completely resets the nervous system. And I always use this analogy. It's like what I'm doing when you come to a mind management coach is you're looking for an outcome. You're looking for more confidence. You're looking for, I want to be able to speak better at networking. I want to have the confidence. I don't want to have anxiety when I'm going to a networking event, right? I'm not dealing with the anxiety. I'm not dealing with the confidence. Everybody has confidence. It's the fact you don't know that you are confident. I'm dealing with the belief of why you don't think you're confident. Because you can speak here and you can speak there. Why can't you speak there? We look at the belief of why they can't speak there. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. It's not the confidence. It's not the anxiety. It's not the depression. It's the belief of what, and it'll be something from your childhood. It'll be something from parents. It'll be something that your grandma might have told you. Oh, by the way, don't eat that extra cookie because we don't want you to be a little chunky monkey. As a 6-year-old kid, you get told that 4 or 5 times. You're going to be like, well, I better not have the extra cookie. Now we've got an eating disorder. You know, or make sure you turn off the lights. If your mum's got OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, they'll make sure you turn off the lights 3 times. All right, it's a learned behaviour. You've then got a kid going, oh, well, if mum says turn it off 3 times, I better turn it off 3 times. You do that 4 or 5 times, you've now got a belief system. Oh, I've got to turn it off 3 times. So the brain's just doing what it's been told. Remember, you're in charge of the brain's not in charge of you. If you hear somebody says, oh, my brain just works that way. No, it doesn't. Even going down to, so you can now look at ADHD and autism. Oh, my brain works differently. Yes, but there's always going to be a positive to why you have that brain. And even like for ADHD now, the amount of stories I say that most cavemen that were successful, It wasn't the caveman back in the cave going, we can't leave. It was the cavemen that everyone laughed at because he walked up the tree. He walked up the tree to see where he could walk to get out because the other cavemen were still stuck at the side. So the ADHD brain would go, let's walk up the tree and find out what's going on. While everyone else is sat in the cave, we can't go out because there's dinosaurs. The ADHD brain would actually say, let's climb up the tree and look for the dinosaurs. And they're all laughing at the person. So there's certain qualities to every aspect of our brain that mindset genuinely changes the outcomes of that. Because I work with people that say, I'm undiagnosed ADHD or autism, sorry. Not a problem, we can work with that. We just need to look at the belief. Because it's your nervous system that fires off, and we work on that by creating better belief systems of everything about you. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. You are lovable, and I can guarantee you are good enough. You're just looking under a perspective of the feelings of what's made us feel a certain way that makes us believe that we're one of those core beliefs. Core beliefs are actual bastards.
There you go.
It's core beliefs I'm working with.
And what about you then, Mike? Who are you?
I would say, like, I'm somebody that just wants to or does enjoy the journey. Like, this is a journey we're on, and I will look at every opportunity, and sometimes, quite selfishly, will look to just enjoy it as much as I can, and I do. And I'm pretty content.
That gentleman is water.
I do. We talk about a lot of life is just like water. You just flow.
Go with the flow. Yeah. Flow states. Flow. You've got to see this. Honestly, flow states. This is how the brain works. We get into ourselves into a meditative. I didn't know how to get to the studio today, so I set off earlier. Right. And the whole way I'm like, I'm going to have to pull over and Google Moo Estates or something like that. I started thinking about something else, and I got to a certain part of Halbeath. I got to Halbeath, and I was like, "Oh, I know where it is." I just got this roundabout. Completely didn't even think about it. I was scared this morning. I let go, and I'm like, "I'll get in at Dunfermline. I'll Google." It was just the second. So I've already done the journey of coming to this podcast studio, and my brain remembered that. So have you ever gotten anywhere, not put on an indicator, got there and thought, which way did I come? Right? If you repeat a practice 17 times, 18 times, you're driving to work on the same basis, same road, you are programming your brain a memory.
It was like what you said yesterday in the podcast when you were driving to Bellshill or East Kilbride, you went, how did I get here? I'm sure I overtook people.
Yeah, flow state. So you're technically you're in a hypnotic or a meditative state. Yeah. So you've gone now to beta brainwaves. You've gone away from alpha, which is awakened, to beta. All right? In beta, we can program ourselves with subconscious beliefs. We can get rid of old ones, we can get new ones. That's why meditation and hypnosis is powerful. I always deal with meditation because it's the exact same thing. This will trigger a lot of people. Meditation is the exact same as hypnosis. And I did a podcast with a hypnotist in Australia, and I was like, is meditation the same as hypnosis? He went, it is. It's the exact same.
Do you know what I had? I think I said this again before, so sorry for people that have been listening to this, tuning in every single week. One of the person that I know, he did hypnosis, and he went, it was deep, like. Yep. And I went, how do you mean? He went, I literally had an out-of-body experience. Yep. Like, I actually... And he said, this sounds weird. I don't know if... I believe in what he was saying, but he says, it's like an ant or whatever. He was just talking about like an animal and insect. And he went, I was right deep. I'm like, how did that feel? He went, it was actually okay, but it's just completely different. I'm like, you sure you're not smoking wacky-backy or something? He went...
Well, what's wrong with smoking wacky-backy? It opens up your consciousness. It releases ego and it releases
because
fear.
I've had experiences that I don't want to experience again in that.
So... drugs.
Yeah.
Because now we're going down the field of moving into why is I don't know if you want to have this conversation, but we'll check the water on this. We'll dip the toe in. Why is it drugs are, let's say marijuana is illegal in some places, but yet alcohol isn't?
Yep.
What does cannabis weed do? It opens his consciousness. It decreases fear. The fear and the bad trips that we have come from something inside, not the drug. It's a fear, it's an insecurity inside. Am I smoking weed every week? Absolutely not. Not for thousands of years have I smoked weed, but I know that the experiences that we have from drugs can show us a better consciousness and open up. See what I'm going to do here for you? Your pineal gland, which we had the conversation of the pineal gland is, and I think DMT is one of those drugs that helps open up the DMT. I've never touched DMT. I have Googled it to find out if it was possible, but it's not, because it opens up the pineal gland, which is a big part of consciousness and spirituality is how we are all connected to others. And that's where, move ego aside, the fear, the worries, of which I still have and I'm still working on. I'm never one of those people that sits in a space of, I've got all my shit together. Absolutely not in any way. But I understand the premises, and I understand that when I get into those flow states, I open up my pineal gland with meditation. I have felt and really understood different parts of life.
It's interesting because there was an interview, I don't know if it was Louis Theroux, he was interviewing a guy, and he looked a bit of a wacky kind of guy, hippie kind of guy. He says, right, we're going to take this and I'm going to see if I can meet the angels.
Yep.
And he was like, the guy was like, really? And it was, I think it was a smoke he was doing, and he took a little bit more, but really conscious. He was talking, articulate himself beautifully. I think he was a professor. He says, are you seeing anything? He says, not quite yet. But we'll just try a little more. And then he says, but then he's talking about the states of consciousness and third dimension, fourth dimension, what we see just now as human beings.
Yep.
And I know we see what we see just now, but when you open up that consciousness and what you're seeing, like animals might see rays of different light. So
they do, yes.
You see an animal standing in the corner and you go, what are you looking at?
Right.
And then if you're on your own, you kind of freak out.
That's energies and auras again.
So, and I've had experiences in my life, and a lot of people, and maybe this is coming a little bit away from the business side of things, but it's understanding people and understanding how to make people better. And there's really good ways in which you can get to a better state. But I think it's fascinating what we do not see just now is in a different dimension. And the DMT drugs, I'm not condoning any of that. No. But it's certainly something there. And as you were saying before, why the governments open up for cannabis and then alcohol.
One of them's taxable, the other one's not.
Well, there is that element to it. And everything's a safety check as well.
Cigarettes. I used to be a smoker. Highly taxable. There's no benefit for your health with smoking.
So let's just say it's a taxation. It's a money thing.
So if there's something, but there is. So now what we're moving into is my belief systems. They are a little bit airy fairy sometimes, but it's something that I resonate with because I think there is more out there, and the perspectives and the animals are absolutely looking on a different energy level, different colours of the ultraviolets and the spectrums that they can see through. You're absolutely right. They do see something. If a dog can smell cancer on you,
I know, and
that's proven.
Yep.
That's not airy fairy. Then you've got to start going. Is what we know as real as it could be, and is there something in spirituality? Is there something in consciousness? Is there? So there's an old. It's called Ho'oponopono, and it's a very.
Sorry, say that again.
Ho'oponopono. It's an old Hawaiian meditation affirmation. I am calm, I am safe, I am loved, I am well. Something on that lines. And it's a really powerful Hawaiian prayer that the gods used to say that we're all connected. We're all connected. Once you connect to your higher self, you will then start really sending out those vibrancy and those echoes and waves into the world that really do start making changes. So I'm a big believer in those affirmations of I do it a lot with the people in cold water therapy when I'm coaching people into the water. I am calm, I am safe, I am well. Your nervous system and brain is listening to that and just going to go, all right, I'm okay with this then.
Well, I think with the cold water, because Mike went away and did it, I think we did promise you that we'd come cold water, and because
sometimes promises get made and get broken, but that tells you more about the person that you're working with, Johnny.
So I think we'll make this because it's summer now.
I knew you were going to say that. It's June. It's not. By the way, more for anyone listening to this, there's more. And I did a podcast with the fire chief safety in Fife. There's more problems in the summer than there is in the winter. There's more cold water shock in the summer because people think, oh, it's warm, that's fine. So you're warm. So you hit the cold water, your body just goes, what the hell? Stop. And then that's when you freeze in the water, and that's when you have panic attacks. So to be fair, mate, you'd probably be better off going in December.
To be fair, but I'll be saying to myself, I am calm, I am safe,
I am well.
I am well, and I'll have you to cuddle. A big lorry.
I don't mind helping people. No, I do. I help a lot of people. I do a lot of videos in the Facebook group of like, look, this, just hold my hand. We'll get you into your shoulders. Just do a couple of minutes, get out. I can tell you now, we suffer more up here than we do in real life. Yeah. The conversations up here are far worse. We've got more Stephen King novels going up on here than actual fact and what happens in the life.
But how do people get a hold of you?
Email me at cuddy@prioritymanagement.com. We do trainings for businesses. I think it's more emotional wellness and management of self we do. I wouldn't say it's mental health. Technically it is. The biggest misconception that people have is they think that mental illness and mental health is the same. So if I've got a mental health problem, does that mean I'm going to be schizophrenic? Does that going to mean I'm going to be bipolar? No, absolutely not. Anxiety, stress, and depression is emotional health. Mm-hmm. You can manage your stress. You can manage your anxiety. You can manage your depression. It's not a chemical imbalance within the brain, of which a lot of people think it is. And it's not. It's been proven it's not. If we're thinking about something that we don't have, we didn't do, we're going to probably go down a dark spiral of, again, awareness. I'm thinking about something in the past that I can't change.
And beliefs, yeah.
Now we're creating a belief system and we're creating a story. We become that story. So create a different story. Create your own movie. Create your own masterpiece.
And with that said then,
this is your world.
Shape it. Or someone else will. Perfect.